Okay, today we will talk about trigonometric functions. Firstly, trigonometry in right triangle. Trigonometry in right triangle. Definitions. Consider that we have a right triangle, and let us choose one acute angle in right triangle. Then sine of this, let's say, sine of this acute angle is equal to ratio of opposite leg to hypotenuse, and cosine of this acute angle is equal to ratio of adjacent leg to hypotenuse. Finally, the tangent of this acute angle is equal to opposite divided by adjacent. Opposite leg divided by adjacent leg. We don't talk about cotangent of acute angle in triangle in SAT program. Okay, let us consider that our triangle is ABC and sides that are A, C, B. Then, in our case, sine of angle A is equal to A divided by B, and cosine of A is equal to what? C divided by B, and tangent of A is equal to A divided by C. This is about definitions of trigonometric ratios in right triangle. Related with definitions, we have mainly four types of exercises. I will give four example related with definitions. The first example, consider that we have a triangle, right triangle, with sides, let's say 6 and 10, and we are and consider that this is AB, C, and we are asked to find, for example, sine of A times, for example, tangent of C is equal to what? Okay, firstly, we will find the unknown side, length of unknown side from or by using Pythagoras theorem. Which is equal to 8, and solution. And sine of A, angle A, is equal to opposite side, which is equal to 6 divided by 10 times tangent of C, the opposite side of angles is 8. 8 divided by adjacent side is 6. Then answer is 0.8. This is first type of exercises related with definitions. Okay. Second example. Okay. Consider that x is acute angle, or given that the degree measure of x is between 0 and 90 degrees, and given that tangent of x is equal to, let's say, 1/3, and we are asked to find sine of x, for example, times cosine of x is equal to 5. In this case, triangle is not given, but we can draw it. We draw right triangle, and then we choose acute angle, one of the acute angles, as x. And since it's given that tangent of x is divided by 1 divided by 3, it means that opposite side can be a and adjacent side can be 3a. But we can also consider that the opposite side is 1 and adjacent side is 3. By Pythagoras theorem, we can find that the hypotenuse is equal to square root of 10. Now, sine of x is equal to 1 divided by square root of 10, and cosine of x is equal to 3 divided by square root of 10. So sine of x times cosine of x is equal to 1 divided by square root of 10 times 3 divided by square root of 10, which is equal to 3 divided by 10. This is second type of exercises related with definitions. Okay. And again, consider that we have right triangle, ABC, and given that cosine of A is equal to, let's say, 2 divided by 5, for example, and given that our hypotenuse is equal to, for example, 10, right, 10. And find x. We are asked to find x, AB. Okay. By definition of cosine of A is equal to adjacent side x divided by hypotenuse 10. And it's given that it's equal to 2 divided by 5. Means that x is equal to 4. Okay. And the last type of exercises. Again, consider that we have a right triangle, and it is given that the length of AB is equal to 3, for example, and then the length of AC is equal to 8, and we must find degree measure or radian measure, degree measure of angle C. In our case, the opposite side and hypotenuse is given. So we can use definition of sine. I mean, sine of angle C is equal to 3 divided by 8. It means that using calculator, we can write C is equal to angle C is equal to arc sinus, we can say it, of 3 divided by 8. And it's equal to what? Let me find it. Three divided by 8. And it's equal to approximately, it's equal to 22 degrees. If I didn't find wrongly. Okay. Second, since in SAT exams, we are allowed to use calculator in each section. We don't need to keep in mind sine of some special angles, for example, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, etc. We don't need to keep in mind. But it's better to give students the results of sine, for example, sine of 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and etc. Okay. And we have some identities. We have some identities related with trigonometric ratios. One of the important one is this one. Sorry, let me first write it. Tangent of x is equal to sine x divided by cosine x. And third one, this is important. Sine squared x plus cosine squared is equal to 1, or we can write sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine squared x, or cosine squared x is equal to 1 minus sine squared x. And which implies that sine of x is equal to plus or minus. Of course, we will decide it after learning trigonometric ratios in unit circle. Okay. And fourth one, if alpha plus beta, the sum of two acute angles is equal to 90 degrees, then sine of alpha is equal to cosine of b. For example, cosine of 40 is equal to sine of 50 degrees, or let's say sine of 70 degrees is equal to cosine of 20 degrees. Okay. Five. Oriented or directed. Oriented or directed angles. Or directed. Angles. Consider that we have such an angle, and this is starting side, and this is terminal side. Then this direction is positive. This direction is positive direction. Positive direction. Counterclockwise direction. Counterclockwise direction. And if we have such angle, and let us consider that this is starting side and this is terminal side, and this direction is negative direction. Clockwise direction is negative direction. Okay. Now let us talk about units of units of angle measures. The first is degree. One degree is considered as 1 divided by 360 part of circle. It means that circle is equal to 360 degrees. Then semicircle, 180 degrees. Quarter circle is 90 degrees. And segment is radian. And circle is, in this case, circle is 2 pi radians. And semicircle is equal to p radians. Quarter circle is p divided by 2 radians. This is quarter circle. The radian measure is p divided by 2. Okay, third one, then relation between degree and radian. As you see, same circle is equal to 180 degrees or is equal to p radians. It means that 180 degrees is equal to p. Then, for example, if we have 4 divided by 3 p radians, we can find it simply by replacing p by 180 degrees divided by 3, and it's equal to 240 degrees. And for example, if we want to write, let's say, 315 degrees in radians, we multiply 315 by p and divide by 180, and by simplification we can write it as what? Not 4. It's equal to 7p divided by 4 radians. Okay. This relation between degree and radian. We must, of course, we also must talk about fundamental measure of angles. I mean, for example, 1000, 1000, let's say 600 and let's say 50 degrees is equal to what? Is equal to what? We must write it as, we must divide it by 360 degrees, which is equal to 0, 1. Remainder is, since remainder is 210, the fundamental measure of this angle is equal to 210. If it means that we have four complete angle, and then we go 210 degrees more. Bunun mənfiləri üçün də var. Onu da yazın. For example, this is important. Consider that we have negative, for example, negative 130 degrees. It means that this is negative 130 degrees. This is clockwise direction. With counterclockwise direction, it's equal to what? 230. It means that negative 130 degrees is equal to positive 230. The fundamental measure of angle must be from 0 up to 360. Must be positive. I mean, must be positive. Okay. Okay. Burada bu P-nin olanları da vermək lazımdır əslində şagirdlərə. Çox lazım olmamaqla bərabər, dediyim kimi kalkulyator var, çox vacib deyil. Amma bəzən bərabərliklər və s. yazılır, onun səhv olduğu bilmək üçün o, məsələn, tutaq ki də 35 pi bölünsün, tutaq ki, nə bilim 4. Bunun fundamental measure deyək də, əsas ölçüsü nədir? Kimisi suallara belə cavab tapmalıdır. Ola bil, yəni istəsəniz onları da deyə bilərsiniz şagirdlərə, yaxşı olar. Amma bu qədər də dərəcə ilə olanları da məsələni həll edir əslində. İndi ona baxmaq lazımdır, yəni şagirdin səviyyəsinə və s. İnsələr yaxşı olar. Amma dediyim kimi, kalkulyator artıq çox şeyi həll edir, o Desmos artıq çox şeyi həll edir. Belə. İndi deyirik unit circle. Trigonometry in unit circle. Öz geniş yer lazımdır. Neyse. A circle with radius of 1 and with center 0, 0. I mean, center is origin, is called unit circle. It's called unit circle. Since radius is 1, then the coordinates of this point is 1, 0, and coordinates of this point is 0, 1. Here we have coordinate -1, 0, and here coordinate is 0, -1. Okay. And consider that the coordinates of a point A on a circle are x and y, means that this is x. Let us consider that this is point B, then length of OB is equal to x, and this is point Y. The length of leg AB is equal to y. And consider that we have positive oriented angle AOB, which is equal to alpha, let's say. Then by definition of sine, cosine, and tangent, we can write sine of alpha is equal to y divided by 1, which is equal to y, and cosine of alpha is equal to x divided by 1, which is equal to x, and tangent of alpha is equal to what? Y divided by x. Then we can say that the sine of angle corresponding to any point on a circle is equal to y coordinate of this point. And cosine is equal to x coordinate of this angle, and tangent is equal to ratio of y coordinate to x coordinate. Of course, we can see proof of some identities which we wrote above. For example, tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine. As you see, sine is y, cosine is x, and tangent is equal to y divided by x. Or x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. It means that sine squared alpha plus cosine squared alpha is equal to 1, and it's another proof of another identity. And we can write what? We can write that since x coordinate of any point on a circle, on a unit circle, is between -1 and 1 included. Of course, we can write that cosine alpha, the values of cosine alpha started from -1 up to 1. The same thing is true for the sine of alpha. sine alpha is between the values of sine of alpha are between -1 and +1 equal. Okay. In unit circle, starting side of all angles is positive part of x-axis. I mean this part. This is starting side of all angles in unit circle. Okay. Okay. So this I must erase these parts. Okay. So this is angle. Angle, in other words, the angle in this point is equal to 0 or 360 degrees or 2p. And angle is in this point is equal to 90 degrees or p divided by 2, and angle in this point is equal to 180, and in this point, versus 270, which is equal to 3 pi divided by 2. Okay. Again, I want to say that we don't keep in mind these values, but explanation for students, I think, will be better. Why sine of, for example, 90 degrees is equal to 1, etc. 0 or 360 degrees or 2 pi. Okay, in this point, since y coordinate is equal to 0, it means that sine of 0 is equal to 0. Since in this point y coordinate, sorry, in this point at B, no, not B, it's not, in this point, I mean, since x coordinate is equal to 1, then cosine is equal to 1. Since tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine, it's equal to 0. Okay, in this point, y coordinate is 1, x coordinate is 0, tangent is equal to 1 divided by 0, which is undefined. And in this point, y coordinate is 0, x coordinate is equal to -1, then tangent is equal to 0. Finally, in this point, y coordinate is -1, x coordinate is 0 and tangent is undefined. Belə. Bunları da dediyim kimi əzbərlətməsək də uşaqlara ümumiyyətlə unit circle tam başa düşmələri üçün yaxşı bir nümunədir. Bunları bu cədvəl şəklində belə yazdırsanız yaxşı olar. Okay. We know that x and y coordinates of any point in the first quadrant both are with positive sign. The second quadrant x coordinate is negative, y coordinate is positive. In second quadrant, both of them negative, and third quadrant, x coordinate is positive, y coordinate is negative. Okay. And since sine of any angle in the unit circle is equal to y coordinate and cosine is x is equal to x coordinate, we can tangent this ratio of them. So we can say that sine of any angle in first quadrant, I mean, if the degree measure of angle is between 0 and 90 degrees, then sine of this angle is positive, cosine is also positive, since tangent is ratio of them. Tangent of this angle is also positive. In the second quadrant, sine by the same reason, sine is positive, sine, cosine negative, tangent is negative. In third quadrant, both of them negative, but tangent positive sign. In the third quadrant, sine is negative, cosine positive, and tangent is negative sign. Okay. Now let us a bit talk about sine, cosine, and tangent of angles greater than 90 degrees. I will write non-formal steps. Yani bunu belə də çox lore dildə, bizim dildə desək, lore dildə olan steplərdir. Bunu riyaziyyatçıya yaraşmayan belə baxanda steplərdir, amma şagirdlər üçün çox aydın olur. Mən bunu istifadə edirəm. Həm SAT proqramında olsun, həm də elə adi digər proqramların hamısında, YÖS-də də, DİM-də də və s. Düzdür, artıq YÖS-də trigonometriya yoxdur. Yəni, mənə gəlir ki, bu fayda uşaqlar üçün biraz daha rahat başa düşülən olur. Ona görə də bu stepləri yenə deyirəm də çox belə riyazi olmayacaq, amma məncə yazdırmaqda fayda var, yoxsa bir sürü şey əzbərlətmək lazımdır. Bu nə deməkdir? Belə yazım. First step write the given angle in the form of one of the forms of vesaire, ama belə qısa yazacağım. In the form of what? 90 degrees plus or minus alpha 180 degrees plus or minus alpha, or 360 degrees plus or minus alpha. Second step, determine sine neye göre tapacak? Due to quadrant of angle. Third step, in the case of 180 degrees plus or minus alpha and 360 degrees plus or minus alpha, name does not change. The case of -90 degrees plus or minus alpha, or and 270 degrees plus or minus alpha, name interchange. Şimdi kotangens olmadığına göre SAT'de bunu demeye ihtiyaç yoktur. Elə şeylerde eləmirlər. Tangensi dəyişdirib kotangens elətdirmirlər də. Elə suallarda qabağımıza çıxır. Şimdi for example, consider that we have sine of, we want to find 120 degrees. We can write it, first step, write 120 degrees as, for example, 90 degrees plus 30. This is first step. Second step, to determine sine, since 120 degrees is in the second quadrant, then in the second quadrant, sine is positive sine. And since we have 90 degrees plus or minus something, the name will be changed and it will be cosine 30 degrees. And it's equal to, let's say, square root of 3 divided by 2. But in a SAT program, we have such exercise. For example, cosine of e divided by 2, for example, minus alpha. First step is done. E divided by 2 minus something, it means we are in the first quadrant. In the first quadrant, cosine is positive sine, and since we have 90 degrees plus or minus something, then name will change. It will be equal to sine alpha. Or, for example, consider that it's given that we must evaluate tangent of 2p minus alpha. 2p minus something, it means that we are in fourth quadrant. In fourth quadrant, the sign of tangent is negative, and since it's 2 pi minus something, name doesn't change. It's equal to negative tangent of alpha. Or, for example, sine of p plus alpha. P plus alpha, it means that we are in third quadrant. Sine is negative, and name doesn't change. It's equal to negative sine alpha. Note, this is important note, cosine of negative x is equal to cosine x, and sine of negative x is equal to negative sine x. Tangent of negative x is equal to negative tangent of x. Okay. And the last subtopic is about length of arc. If we have central angle in radian measure, theta in radians, and consider that radius of circle is r, then length of corresponding arc L is equal to r theta. Okay? Bunun ispatı falan da asandır, ehtiyac şey yoxdur, amma çox suallarda bu çox var. İndi görəcəksiniz o baxsanız 6-5-6-6-da bununla əlaqədar çox suallar da var. Yəni bu düsturu bilmək çox rahatlıqdır. Yəni bunun istifadəsi bəzəndən radianı çevir, nə bilim, dərəcəyə istifadə elə, neylə, o uzun söhbətdir. Çox vaxt, məsələn, radianı 1 verir. Görəcəksiniz sualın 1 yoxdur, tak 3 verir. Onda onu çevirmək dərəcəyə, sonra istifadə eləmək çox uzun çəkir, amma bunu bilmək, nədirsə bunu trigonometriyə gətirib qoyublar. Ola bilər, radianı burada keçilir deyə gətirib bura qoyublar. Belə, mənə gəlir ki, deməli olduğumuz hər şeyi dedik. Bəzi şeylərdə ixtisar bu, digital gələndən sonra, SAT gələndən sonra trigonometriyada bəzi o 30, 45, 60 və s. əzbərə, onu da belə bugün onu keçməsəniz olar, o bir balaca vaxtı azaldır. Mənə gəlir hər şeyi dedik. Bu trigonometri sualları SAT-dəki suallar içində ən asanlarından da əslində. İki tip suallar olur. Bir dənəsi o 4 dənə dediyim, başda dediyim 4 növ definitionlarla bağlı 4 növ suallardan olur. Ya da belə olur adətən. X kosinusdur, Y sinusdur, tangensdə onların nisbətidir. Yəni bunu biləndən sonra şagird yəni çox da çətinlik çəkmir. Gördüyünüz kimi yəni SAT-də trigonometri çox belə məhduddur, çox az bir şeyin veriblər. Özünüzdə görəcəksiniz o suallarda. Belə, bu qədər. Bu da bizim axırıncı dərsimiz idi, bitdi. Ümid edirəm ki, nəsə faydalı bir şeylər olmuşdur. Mən şeyi dayanırım, rekordu dayanırım.